Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the fabric of the World Wide Web, listening on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, watching on YouTube. Welcome, and welcome to everyone watching live. My name is Art Jones, and I'm the principal consultant at The Art of Standing Out, where we use brand strategy, storytelling, and design thinking to help you market better so you can sell more. And my co-host today is Andrew Frazier. And Andrew's a seasoned professional with a track record of more than 20 years delivering superior results for small businesses and large businesses alike. Andrew's background includes a top-notch education, earning a BS in mechanical engineering at MIT, U.S. Navy logistics management qualification, and an MBA in finance and management from NYU Stern. He also served in capacities as a Navy Supply Corps officer, corporate executive, nonprofit leader, board member, and as entrepreneur. His depth and breadth of experience enables him to take a multidisciplinary approach to solving problems and implementing solutions. And if I had to read any more of his qualifications, we would take the next half hour to do that, but we want to dive into the content that he has to share. This series has, we've called it Running Your Business Like a Pro. And Andrew has, over the course of many years, launched several different business entities. There's a quarterly event called the Power Breakfast in New Jersey that brings business leaders together for presentations and networking. That's grown and grown and grown to quite the juggernaut of activity and knowledge sharing. AJ Management is one of the foundational platforms that Andrew's built, where the consultancy and all of the experience he has as an operations executive in executive coaching and providing leadership to business owners is where AJ Management excels. And now a new incarnation of the businesses, and I guess what I refer to it as kind of a coalescence of all of the businesses and all of the experiences under one roof, if you will. And that's the business that's called Small Business Like a Pro. And, this is episode 4. We've talked a lot about working in your business with the intention of beginning to work on your business so one day you can exit your business. And Andrew's given us a lot of great knowledge about what we should be paying attention to achieve not being in our business, but working on it. And I think today, Andrew, if we could, your evolution, having had so many different businesses, and now what looks like to me is that you're really integrating them all into the Small Business Like a Pro. If you take a few minutes and tell us about, where you've been and why you're now going into this new incarnation, Small Business Like a Pro, and what that's going to offer.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Small Business Like a Pro is sort of like the culmination of bringing, everything together, all my experiences, all my knowledge to bear for entrepreneurs and business owners, where, running your business like a pro, having the business, it's a progression. You're going to develop, but a lot of times, some small business owners have difficulty making it from one stage to the other. In a typical business lifeline, like you had mentioned, you start working on your business. So you're working on your product, you're delivering the service, you understand your product and service, in depth, but you may not necessarily understand your business and how it works. And in many cases, you don't even understand that you don't understand that until you are asked some questions or run into a brick wall and are trying to figure out how to get past it. The first stage, you're working on your business. The second stage, you're really working in your business. So when you're working, first stage, you're working in your business. The second stage, you're working on your business. So when you're working on your business, you've actually gotten to a point where you're focusing on the business metrics and optimizing the performance and the success of your business as opposed to delivering the products or services. A lot of business owners find that they can't take a vacation, they can't take a day off without it negatively impacting their business. So then you're working in your business because your business needs you to run. The second stage, working on your business, you can take a week off. You can go different things. You can be comfortable doing that. Generally, that stage has, you have employees, but then on top of the employees, you have a supervisor or manager who's competent so that they can take care of all the day-to-day stuff and focused on delivering the product or service, and you can work on optimizing the business. And then the third stage is working on the future of your business, sort of taking it to the next level to where, you've optimized your business, it's running well, you've got people in there focusing on optimizing it on a daily basis, and, then you're moving to the industry level where you're looking to grow your business, finding new avenues for growth, either vertical or horizontal integration and new markets. So, your role goes from doing the business to working on your business to actually working on, growing your business significantly. And unfortunately, a lot of small businesses never make it past the first phase. They never make it to the point where you can actually take that week of vacation. And the difficult part is, you can work on your business all your life, and if you never make it past that phase, you can't really sell it for any money because the business can't run without you. So, one of the things I do in working with clients is try and take them through that process. And, there's several things involved in that process. Number one, there has to be a willingness to go through the process and understanding of what, having a vision for what you want to get out of the process and what's possible to get out of the process so that you're excited about wanting to do that. The second thing is you're going to have to build your knowledge continually. Nowadays in the information economy, you should be always learning and developing. If you're not learning and moving forward, you're moving backwards. So as an entrepreneur and business owner, your business is only going to be as successful as you can make it. So you continually have to be preparing yourself, developing yourself so that you can take it farther. And, the third part, is you can't do it alone. You need a team, internal and external, that you work with that helps you along the process. So, one of the things I do, and, one of the hallmarks to being able to run your business like a pro is actually being able to use information and quantitative information in making business decisions as opposed to sort of winging it at times where you're making decisions, but, you may not fully understand how it impacts your business, or, you're making decisions when you're working in your business because you understand it because you've been doing it, but then it can't be transferred so that anyone else can do it because it's sort of your own stored up knowledge, so you can never get away to do other things. So, one of the keys that I've learned, it's kind of funny, but, there was a business owner who, entrepreneur, business owner who made it really big. And, one of the things they said is, well, how did you do it? How do you become a really good business person? And it was like, you got to make good decisions. So, makes sense. You do well because you made good decisions. So then, they asked, well, how do you learn how to make good decisions? Because, everyone doesn't make good decisions. So you got to figure out, well, how do you do that? And, he responded by making bad decisions and learning from them. So, it's a process. You have to go through things. You have to take your lumps. But over that time, you gain experience. And a lot of times you can gain experience and knowledge through others as well. But any entrepreneur has taken their lumps and had their challenges and made some bad decisions. But you learn a lot from that process. And, me as well. So, I think that that's a key to being able to run your business like a pro is taking some risks, trying some things. Not everything's going to work, but you know certain things are, and you're going to learn and better understand it. And then where I take it to a level beyond where others do is focusing on developing the numbers. When you think of a pro, I don't know, I used to play baseball when I was younger, but it's similar for any sport. We had Little League, you know, basically from 8 years old up to high school, you could play in different levels of Little League. From there, you might be able to make high school and play, and if you're, fairly successful, you'll make it to the minor leagues. And then there's a progression through the minor leagues before you can even make it to the major leagues. Well, it's the same thing with small business. You're going to start out in little leagues. You're going to spend many years learning different things, developing different skills. Not everybody makes it out of the little leagues to the minor leagues. And actually, a lot of times it's a small percentage. But those are the ones that are dedicated, focused on continuing to get better, practicing, getting coaching, and committed mentally and physically to moving forward. And even out of all those, it's even very, very difficult to even go from there to the pros. And same way in business. You start out, you're managing, you're in your first stage, you're working on your business. You're by working on your business, you're developing through that process. And that's like the little leagues. The next stage, you're working on, you started working on in your business. Now you're working on your business. And that's like the minor leagues. So you've stepped up your game. You've made it past where a lot of entrepreneurs make it past. And sometimes throughout their career, they may even make it to that level. And by making it to the minor leagues, that's when you're actually working on your business. So you understand your business, not just your products. So that means you understand your business model, understanding every piece that goes into it. So understanding how the marketing works, understanding how the marketing operations and sales fit together, and sort of optimizing your mix of all the different areas of the business. And the only way you can do that is with information. You can't necessarily do that from a field, but if you get information about your business, how it's running on a regular basis, you can use that to help make much better decisions and understand how your business works even better. And then the next level is working on the future of your business. So that's when you're really in the pros. That's like, even Fortune 500 companies, that's what they do. So, if you look at a company like GE, which is worldwide, one of the biggest companies in the world, they rely heavily on numbers and information. Every day, they close their books. So basically, the CEO can know how much money they made in every single one of their businesses that day. Also, expenses. They have all their financial information available on a daily basis the next day. And imagine how much you're going to understand how your business is working. And then you can use that information to make, shifts and changes to either, focus on different areas of maybe you need to grow sales. So you might do some marketing efforts. Maybe you're behind on inventory, but by having the information, you're able to make these decisions, but you can also make the decisions about how you're going to grow, what markets you're going to go into, and, focus externally as opposed to internally on your company. So that's, a little bit about the progression. generally, most entrepreneurs, even myself included, there's really three reasons why you would even start a business. It may be one of these reasons or a combination, but generally it's either for personal reasons. So, you wanted to, work for yourself. You were looking to do something different or actualize your skills. So, or maybe you need a flexible schedule, or many other reasons, but for a personal reason. The second reason is professionally. Maybe professionally, that's what you need to get to the next level professionally. Maybe professionally, you're not able to achieve it another way. So, on a professional basis, that's another reason. Then the third reason is financial. You may need to make more money. You may need a job, or to make money, or your goal might be to make a certain amount of money, which is more than you can make any other way. So a combination of personal, professional, and financial reasons are why people start businesses. But one of the things I find you find is a lot of times you don't actually achieve what you originally went into the business for. You find a lot of people going into the business having a vision or an expectation and it not being met. And one of the key things is figuring out how to achieve your goal and your vision. And that's one of the ways that I'm able to work with different businesses. And one of the keys is Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth. And his premise of writing the E-Myth is, being an entrepreneur, there's sort of a myth and then there's a reality. And the reality is a little different than the myth and what your expectation is. A lot of people assume when you have your own business, you have, you can work whenever you want. You can, but you end up working longer hours than you would otherwise. And end up working longer hours for less money early on. But as you progress down the development, you start being able to work less hours and make more money. As you get into the minor leagues and in the major leagues, you have the ability to work as much or as little as you want, but you make even more money. So, the key is by moving to the next level, that allows you to enjoy the success that you really envisioned for your business. Same if you started your business because, you wanted to employ people. But the only way you can do that is by running your business successfully and growing it through the different stages. So, being able to develop and move forward running your business is key. And that's what running your business like a pro is all about.
That's a fascinating overview. Whenever you talk about working in your business versus working on your business, and then, positioning yourself for the future of your business and optimizing that business so it can really serve you, takes a lot of work. And I think that the key takeaway is never stop learning, right? Always building your knowledge base and doing the work to be a business owner is more than just working on your business. It's working on your knowledge about running a business. And, do you have a case study of what it's like, when you first meet someone that thinks their business is doing great, and when you have to give them the brutal truth about their greatness is now based in reality, the reality check?
Okay. Well, definitely have run into that situation many times, and you approach it individually based on the individual, based on the industry and business. But one of the key things is I just like to ask a lot of questions. My process for working with people is really what I call the AARI process, where the first step is assessment. Um, from there, you go to analysis, and then making recommendations, and then helping to implement it. So, pretty straightforward process, but each step is very important. And as you go through the steps, it's also an iterative process for when you go through the steps, you learn new things, and then you figure out where you are and move forward again. So, one of my clients that I've worked for about a year and a half, and really seen great growth and development, is Miani Lawson, who started a school 2 years ago, Bergen Lafayette Montessori preschool, and we met actually through Rising Tide Capital. I do coaching for entrepreneurs with Rising Tide Capital, and they have me also person who meets with people when they're looking to get financing or a loan. So, I came out to her. She was looking to raise money, and like a lot of people, that's my first interaction with them. They're in business, they're looking to raise money, get a loan. Before we can even approach that, though, I need to understand what your business is, what your business model is, what you think you need the money for, because a lot of times we find that you may not need that much money. You may not need any money because you might be trying to do stuff before you need to do stuff. Or you might not be able to get any money or the amount of money that you want. So you have to have a plan based on what you can actually achieve. So, usually I'll ask, do you know what your sales were last month? Do you know what your sales were last year? And those seem like pretty simple questions to an entrepreneur, but more than 50% of the time, they don't have the answer. Maybe they might need, and I even just say estimated. Does it have to be to the nearest dollar, to nearest hundred, or to the nearest thousand? But a lot of entrepreneurs don't even necessarily know that. But that's some information that might be helpful for you to know about your business. So, by asking questions like that, where they could come to an understanding that, hey, maybe I might need to know some of this stuff, and how do I figure it out? And if I knew that, maybe I might be able to make better decisions and run my business better. So asking questions, and really the goal of asking questions is to really figure out what your business model is. So, how your business works in the model. And when you're talking about a business model, you're really looking at, a summarized form of the P&L, or the profit and loss statement, which, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially small businesses, they may not even understand what that is, or know what that is, or look at that. So, that's very important as well. Maybe they get it from their accountant at the end of the year, but by the time you get that information, it's a year old. So you can't really use that to make decisions. But if you had that information every month, or every quarter, or every week, that helps you understand more about your business. And if things aren't going in the right direction, then you can make decisions. So having quantitative information on a timely basis is important. So try to assess where they are in terms of what information they get, how often they get it, to figure out how they can get it as often, the key, what the key information is, and how they can most effectively get access to that as quickly as possible, so that they can make better decisions. And when you're looking at the business model, it's really as simple as looking at, well, you have your revenues or sales coming in, you subtract out your variable expenses, and variable expenses does not necessarily mean that it's different every month. That's a variation, but that's not a variable expense. A variable expense is actually every time you sell another dollar of your product, you have to incur that expense. But if you don't sell more, you don't incur that expense. So it varies in directly with your sales. So subtracting out your variable expenses, figuring out what your variable expenses are, because then you can get a feel for understanding your business in terms of, well, what percent of every dollar of sales does it cost me to deliver that dollar of sales? So in a store, a lot of times you're going to have a markup of at least 50%. So, the store buys it for 5 and it costs them 10. So, or sorry, the store buys it for 5 and they sell it to you for 10. So, since it has a direct relationship, if their sales is $1,000, then that means their variable expense is going to be $500, or around about. If their sales is $1 million, then their variable cost is going to be about 500,000. So by understanding that ratio, that allows you to understand how your sales is going to impact the first level of your profitability. Once you have your revenues and subtract out your variable costs, then that gives you your gross revenues, or gross profit. And from there, you subtract out your fixed costs. Your fixed costs may vary some month to month, but those are generally costs that you incur on a regular basis, even if you don't sell any more products. So that might be like your rent. That usually stays similar, but your utilities are different every month. They vary, but they're still fixed costs. So by understanding your fixed costs, you subtract those out, and that gives you your cash flow or your profit. On a simple level. And if you don't, just understanding those basic things are key, because that's your business model. That's how your business works. If you're going to apply for any financing, the first thing they're going to want to know is, do you understand your business? And if you don't understand that, you don't understand your business. So the first stage is getting to that point. And then the second stage is, being at that point, understanding where you are, and then working to optimize it. Okay. Well, how can I make, instead of 50% of every dollar sold goes to the cost of it, maybe I can make it 46 cents. So then I'm increasing 4%, and 4% doesn't seem that big. But when you get down to your profit at the end, a lot of companies, their whole profit is 1%, 5%, 10%. Some higher margin businesses, it might be 20 or 30. But, by increasing that by a couple percent, that's a significant increase in your profitability. So by working on your business, you're working on that business model to, 1, grow your sales, 2, reduce your expenses, your variable expenses, so your product costs. Number 3, looking at your fixed expenses and how can you manage those most effectively. And, in the goal of having the maximum cash flow or profitability that you need to grow your business. So once you have that, then you have a good understanding of your business. Then you can, come up with a rationale for obtaining financing, and be able to create a story and create a situation that an investor, or a lender would be interested in pursuing, because they understand that you understand your business, that your business model makes sense. They can understand how you're making your profits and approximately how much you're going to make. And then they can assess how much risk it would be for them to make that investment or make that loan. But before that point, it's an astronomical amount of risk that they're taking, because they're giving you money even to run your business, even though you really don't understand your business. And most people don't see it that way when they're at that stage, but that's really sort of what it is.
Yeah, there's, your analogy of little league and high school baseball and minor leagues and major leagues, as you're talking about cash flow and gross revenues and variable cost, it makes me think about the reality that if you don't understand those key performance indicators, you'll never get out of the little leagues. You really, and that's what, when you talked earlier about building your knowledge and growing as a business owner, is really understanding what the key performance indicators are that drive your business and allow you to grow. And I know a question was asked in the stream, is it important to have a coach or a mentor? And if you don't know the answers to these questions, you don't know what questions to ask, you absolutely need a coach or a mentor, someone to educate you and build your knowledge base around these mission critical elements of growing a business. So good stuff. This is great stuff. I know there's another question from Gerald in here, and it's can you talk about pricing in general? And if anybody wants to jump into the seat and join the conversation with Andrew and I, please, the seat's open. Come on in, and would love to have your question or even get your perspective on this notion of working in your business versus working on your business, and optimizing your business so one day you can have an exit from that business or a legacy to hand to some family member. Can't do that without understanding all of the things that Andrew's talked about this morning. So Andrew, we're about 30 minutes in. We've covered a lot. We've talked about small business like a pro, the evolution and how you got there, why you got there, because you believe it's important. It's important work that you're doing for business owners, for small business owners. And you are the mentor that comes along and gives them the reality check. And no doubt, often some people don't like it because they're saying, well, that's not what I thought. But when they accept the reality and then embrace the responsibility to do some of the right things, they can turn it around. They don't have to continue to work in their business and be without vacations because they can't leave because they are their business. With your guidance, they can begin working on their business and really build a business that can go big one day. So, kudos for you for taking all that you know and have learned over your impressive career and now pointing it and making it in service to small business owners to help them accomplish more. Good work. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Can I say a couple of things?
Yeah, please.
Okay. No, I mean, I think that, definitely you can't do it alone. So you probably need more than one coach, or, maybe you have a team, an advisory board, but you need multiple people. And, one of the things that I'm able to do that most other coaches and consultants can't do is I understand marketing, operations, and finance in depth and understand how each impacts the other within your business. A lot of times people are an expert at marketing, expert at finance, expert at operations, but you could do marketing great, but if it's not aligned with what you're doing in operations, then you're actually hurting yourself. And if you sell 1 million orders but you can only make 500,000 delivered, you're hurting yourself. So same here, you want to have a comprehensive approach to what you're doing. So you may need multiple people that can help provide you what you need. And you just, as a business owner, you may have advisors, but at the end of the day, it's your business. So you can't let your advisors make the decision. You should be making the decision. They should be providing you information, knowledge, and ideas. So that's one of the key things that I think is important to know, that you can't just hire any consultant. It has to be you have to be careful. Make sure you're getting the right thing for what you're doing.
Good morning, Maestro. Gerald DuBose, Andrew Frazier, Gerald DuBose. You guys have had an opportunity to talk a few minutes in the past, but now you can meet eyeball to eyeball. Compliments of Blab and live streaming.
Okay, hey Gerald, thanks for participating. It's good to finally see you.
Trying to get virtual eyeball to virtual eyeball.
Yes.
I'm just loving the conversation, and I literally just came out my sales meeting, and I saw you and Ardo, and I said I got to jump in and at least support the guys and support what you're doing. And I love this topic. I love what you're talking about. It's so important. I mean, they missed the boat. A lot of entrepreneurs don't know whether they need a coach or a consultant. And the sad thing is the coaches and consultants don't know which one they really are a lot of times. So they kind of come in and these entrepreneurs, the whole pricing and understanding your key performance indicators and what really drives your business and what are your signals, your smoke screens, and where you need to look to put out the fires is so important. And that's where these small businesses get in so much trouble. They get into huge trouble because they go into pricing before they think about all the costs. And they just, hey, I have a service, I can charge $50 because they want to come in low. And then I'll charge $50 for this service and it'll be great. And it ended up costing them $200. And then they're sitting there like, why am I not making any money?
Right. So, yeah. Right. No, definitely. Pricing is one of the most challenging things for small businesses because, especially if you're not doing any numbers, you can't really understand how much your costs are and what your price is relative to it. Also, you can't just price the same thing that other people are pricing because maybe they have a better supplier. Maybe they have a greater economies of scale. So it's a little bit, it's impacted about your costs, but also it's an art. You may have a strategy of premium pricing based on your marketing and branding. It may be a commodity business where you do have to match price, or it's very price competitive. Or maybe you have an advantage over other businesses, so you can charge less. But if you don't have a cost advantage over other businesses, then you don't necessarily want to charge less because you're just cutting yourself off and it doesn't end well.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted you to speak to that. And I see Junior Garcia just jumped in, so I don't want to take up all the time, but that's why I wanted you to speak to price so that people could hear that, because most people come in and think, well, if I'm the lowest, if you're the lowest, you're usually the brokest. That's honest,
Right.
The only reason Walmart can do what they do is because, like you said, the sourcing that they have and the rate that they're able to get stuff at, they can drop the price lower. If you're a mom and pop shop, you cannot come in and compete with Walmart. You cannot try and undercut Walmart because your costs are going to be so much more significant. That's why I appreciate you answering the question, Andrew.
Okay, thanks for the question. That's a great question.
So Jenya, how are you, sir? Long time no see.
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Welcome. You probably met Gerald on Blab before, because I know you both have been on Blab for a while. And this is Andrew Frazier, we've been listening to for a while. Andrew, this is Jenya Garcia, a leadership development man with Marine Corps blood running through his veins. So he's serious about everything that he does. So thanks for joining, Jenya.
No doubt. Thank you.
Okay.
Man, Gerald brought up some good points. The first business I started, I had a great mentor. I told him, man, listen, one day I'm going to pay you back. He said, you'll never make enough money to pay me back. He's been right. So, but just one of those things where you have a man ready to take you underneath his wing and just say, look here, young brother, I'm gonna show you the ropes. So I really, really appreciate that. Now, and Jared brought up a good point. I didn't have to pay overhead for rent or different things like that. So knowing what's worth your time. For instance, I had a mentorship company for at-risk kids called Raising a Black Belt. And, knowing how much the uniforms would cost, how much it would cost to do field trips, how much would it cost to do a van, how much would it cost for my time per hour teaching these children, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to put my children, if they're too young, I had to put them in daycare, and just knowing the numbers, knowing,
right.
Do I need 5 children to enroll so the program stays alive, or do I need 20 to enroll? What marketing, am I paying money for the newspaper, for these different advertising? Which one works? Recording and actually annotating. Okay, you heard about us from MySpace. That's cool. You heard about us word of mouth. Okay, now I could drop this yellow page ad. Knowing those different things. So Joe brought up some real good things. And the funniest thing about it is, I think I would still have been doing that business. My mentor gave me some advice, and I was like, man, you don't know what you're talking about, man. You don't know what you're talking about. And the one thing I didn't listen to it for is what bite me in the butt and had me to start all over again. But like you said, it was like, okay, that was a junior varsity level. So now I feel like I've definitely moved up. I've failed in certain things doing that. But you know what? It was some of the best mistakes I've ever made.
Right. No, it's a culmination. I think that's a great explanation. I would add one thing that I run into a lot is, with pricing, a lot of entrepreneurs say, okay, well, I can price it and, based on what they could live with, not what they should be making. Because, the other thing is, you're an entrepreneur, you can probably live with less than you should be making. And a lot of times you can live with less than what you would be making if you were doing something else. But, one thing I try and instill is you need, if you're doing the work, you need to be making as much money as you would be paying someone else to do the work. Plus, that's just breaking even. Your profit as an entrepreneur and owner, you need to be being able to pay someone else to do the work and make your money on top of that. So if your pricing doesn't reflect that, then, you're not where you need to be.
Pay yourself first. That's what he told me. Make sure you put the numbers in and pay yourself first. And it's funny because even now I run into different entrepreneurs and they're not even on their own payrolls. They're constantly just paying other people, and they're not even on the payroll. They just take whatever profit is left over, So yeah.
So, great points. Great points.
So this is good stuff. I've got a hard stop at 45 minutes, and we're coming up on that. So Andrew, I wanted to thank you for hopping on. And this is episode 4. I think we've covered some good stuff, but I know there's a lot more to cover. And we should offline talk about what episode 5 might be and see if we can, keep this conversation going, because it's not just a conversation that's nice to have. If you're a business owner, it's mission critical to have. And so it's kind of our responsibility to keep this conversation going so people that don't know what they don't know can begin to hear some of the things they should be working on. And, we can feel good about bringing the message to them.
That's a young entrepreneur right there, waiting to blossom.
It's funny. I just had my daughter write her first mission statement. She's 12, and so just doing that, like we mentioned, it's mission critical, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I listen to this and I take notes and I show them what I learned and I have them grow with me. And at first I was telling them what to do and it wasn't working, but showing them and having them do the things with me. Amen. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Art.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good stuff.
I will jump off so you can close properly, Art, and all of that. Always good to see you. So nice to meet you, virtual eyeball to virtual eyeball, Andrew. Junya, always good to see you, brother.
For sure, brother.
Jumping out.
Easy budgets. Be good.
Thanks, Gerald. See you.
All right.
Junya, always good to see you, brother. Andrew, we've got the recording. We've got just coming up on 45 minutes. I think it was good. I'm going to shut this down and thank everybody who's listened here live and everybody listening on replay. Thank you so much for supporting this conversation, running your business like a pro, with Andrew Frazier and Art Jones. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
All right. Thanks.